Picture this. You're staring at your LSAT results, but they're just a few points shy of what you'd hoped. Your first thought might be, will this score get me into my target law schools? But here's what most people miss. Those few extra points can be worth tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your legal career. Today, I'm going to show you how the LSAT isn't just some stressful test to survive. It's actually one of the biggest financial turning points in your legal career. First, for those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my own LSAT score from a 152 to a 175. Now, if you've been thinking of the LSAT as just a ticket into law school, you're actually selling it short. The reality is that your LSAT score can dictate where you go to law school because higher LSAT scores open doors at top tier schools. It can dictate how much you pay for law school because better scores typically mean better scholarships. It can dictate your career opportunities post-graduation because elite law firms, competitive clerkships, and prestigious public interest roles often recruit from higher ranked schools. Of course, it can also dictate your lifetime earning potential because the difference between starting salaries between, say, a top 10 law school and a lower ranked school can be staggering. And that difference often starts with just a few points on the LSAT. In other words, the LSAT affects not just the next 3 years of your life, but the next 3 decades. Now let's talk numbers. In 2023, private law school tuition hovered around $56,000 per year, and public schools averaged around $30,000 per year. But tuition's just the tip of the iceberg because you've also got to look at the total cost of attendance. After factoring in living expenses, fees, textbooks, and bar prep, we're often looking at $150,000 or $200,000 for 3 years, and most law graduates have to borrow heavily. The average law student debt is around $130,000, which means many students actually owe more than that. Now, imagine graduating with 6 figures in debt. Every monthly loan payment you make after graduation chips away at your financial freedom. The more debt you have, the harder it is to choose lower-paying public interest jobs or to start your own law firm right after graduation. And that's where your LSAT score comes in. Your LSAT score isn't just a number, it's currency in the market of law school admissions. Here's why. The first and biggest reason is merit-based scholarships. Law schools want higher LSAT medians because it boosts their status in the rankings. Rankings attract applicants, donations, and prestige. If your score helps them raise their median, they're going to pay you for it. That comes in the form of scholarships, partial scholarships, full scholarships, or even more than full tuition scholarships. And just a few points can make a massive difference. Let's say the median LSAT score at your target school is a 160. If you score a 158, you might not get anything. But if you increase that score to a 162, 163, suddenly you're looking at $15,000, $20,000, or even $30,000 a year in financial aid. That's a difference of tens of thousands of dollars over your 3 years of law school. And at many competitive schools, an LSAT score a few points above their median can turn a modest scholarship into a full ride. Some schools even offer stipends for living expenses. Think about it. Your living costs, books, and fees all covered just because you bumped your score up a couple of points. Now, you don't want to be fooled by a bigger scholarship at a pricier school, though, because you always got to look at the total cost of attendance. For example, School A charges $50,000 in tuition, but they give you a $20,000 scholarship. Your net tuition cost would be $30,000 a year plus living expenses. School B, on the other hand, charges $70,000 in tuition, but gives you a $40,000 scholarship. Looks great at first glance, but now your net cost is $30,000 per year, just the same as at School A, even though the scholarship number was bigger. So you got to look at the bottom line, focusing on how much you actually have to pay out of pocket each year, including living expenses, which are going to vary state by state, city by city, not just on the scholarship's total dollar amount. When you're negotiating or comparing offers, always highlight the total cost of attendance difference, not just the scholarship figure. Now, your LSAT score doesn't stop mattering once you enroll. It's the seed that grows into your long-term career outcomes. So let's look at top-tier schools versus lower-ranked schools. A graduate from a T14 school will often have a shot at big law firms with starting salaries at $200,000 a year or more. Graduates from a lower ranked school might only start at $75,000 or $100,000 if they're lucky. Over a 40-year career, that's not just a salary gap, it's a life-changing difference that can total in the millions. And if you want a federal clerkship or a position at a top government agency, those opportunities often flow more freely to alumni from highly ranked schools. And guess what got you into that T6 or T14 school? It's going to be your LSAT score. And over a lifetime, the differences in your starting position will compound over time. If you start high, you tend to stay on a higher trajectory. If you start lower, it can be harder to jump later on. The LSAT score that got you into a better school could mean a more robust professional network, stronger mentorship opportunities, and more frequent promotions down the line. Now let's look at a couple of real-world examples of how a few points on the LSAT made a huge difference. Case study 1, Sarah started with a 158 on her practice tests, but after dedicated LSAT prep, she hit a 170. That jump earned her a full tuition scholarship at a T20 school, transforming a debt load that would have been $150,000 into virtually zero. That is life-changing. Case study number 2, Malik improved his score from a 161 to a 175. That got him into a top 10 law school, and so upon graduating, instead of starting at $80,000 a year in a small firm, he landed a $215,000 a year starting salary in big law. The difference over just 10 years is more than $1 million extra in his pocket. And these are not exceptions. They represent what's possible with strategic, focused LSAT prep. So how do you get those crucial extra points on the LSAT? You've got to study with a plan. Treat the LSAT like at least a part-time job, 15, 20 hours per week of focused, structured LSAT prep. And you want to master the basics before adding speed. Accuracy first beats speed every single time. Start slow, get every question you can correct, then gradually pick up the pace, and finally incorporate tons of full-length timed practice tests to build up your stamina, and review every single question you miss, figure out why you missed it and how you can avoid the same mistake again next time around. This is where the Socratic review method comes in. At LSAT Unplugged, we incorporate it into our live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. We match you with a coach for consistent weekly private one-on-one sessions, and we craft a personalized day-by-day study plan just for you. If you'd like my help, whether you're taking the LSAT for the first time or retaking on your journey to a 170 or above, my team and I would be glad to help you out. You can check out the links below to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. And it is well worth retaking the LSAT if you think you can improve by even just a couple of points. Each extra point could mean tens of thousands of dollars in savings or income down the line. And because law schools do not average multiple LSAT scores, but rather only take the highest, there's really no downside to retaking the LSAT. And don't be afraid to negotiate even after you're accepted. Reach out and say, School X offered me a $25,000 a year scholarship, but I'd love to attend your school instead. Could you consider matching or improving their offer? Admission officers often have tons of flexibility, and if you show genuine interest, it can pay off big time. Now remember, the LSAT is just a couple of hours, but it has massive implications over the course of your legal career, so don't just see it as a one-time hurdle to get into law school. Treat your LSAT prep as an investment in your financial future. Those extra hours you spend studying now, you're actually working to earn tens of thousands of dollars later. By the time you step into your first law school lecture, you could have already saved yourself years of debt repayments and opened doors to career options you might never have considered. Now remember, a few points on the LSAT can change everything. They can transform a six-figure debt load into a fully funded education. They can turn a modest local firm start into a big law, $200,000 a year starting salary. And the LSAT can give you the freedom to choose your own career path, whether it's a high-powered firm, a coveted clerkship, or a fulfilling public interest position without the constant pressure of massive loan payments. And so if you're serious about making the most of your legal career, invest the time, effort, and resources into boosting your LSAT score now. It's the single biggest financial decision you can make before stepping foot into a law school classroom. And if you'd like my help, you can check out the links below to book a call with me and my team, And in the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.